Hello, everyone. So, Minnesota finally hired an offensive coordinator. It remains Kevin Stefanski. And Stefanski served as the interim guy for the final 3 games of the year. He averaged 127 yards on the ground with a 5.2 yards per carry in those final three, and also averaged 27.3 rush attempts a game. Now, the hot topic here could potentially be Kirk Cousins because of what he averaged in those final 3 games. He averaged 200 yards, a 7.73 average yards per throw there, 2 touchdowns, a 0.33 interception, 2.7 sacks a game, and 54.16 QBR. Now, those don't really inspire anything, but if you were to take out the Bears game, which you probably shouldn't do because obviously it was his worst one, but if you do, his yards go up from 200 to 234 in these averages, from 7.73 to 9.6, 2 touchdowns to 2.5 touchdowns. Interceptions go up because he only threw one in the 3 game span, and that happened in the first game. So you have a 0.5 interception as opposed to a 0.33. The sacks go from 2.7 to 2, and his QBR goes up 54.16 to 72.4. And with so little known just about Stefanski as a whole, it's a little hard to try to tell what he's going to be as a play caller next year because we've only seen him for 3 games. And obviously, he didn't have his own offseason to install plays like he will now, so he wasn't even calling plays that he probably won't call next year. So it's a little interesting. And Kirk Cousins, it's kind of weird that the numbers are like that because you would obviously the 2 before the Bears game was helpful if you look at the numbers, but he was a quarterback's coach for most of the year, and I would think that would improve communication between coaching staff and quarterback in terms of Kirk Cousins. And although I do think it needs to be asked about the question of how much of an outlier this Bears game is, because obviously we didn't do much with DiFilippo against them either. And how much of that is, we have Mike Remmers and Tom Compton, and they have Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, and Eddie Goldman. So how much of that factors into that? Kind of hard to tell. And I have a feeling we aren't going to get an answer to that this offseason. We'll have to wait until next season to really answer that, of how much of that is on the play calling and how much of it is just, we know the line hasn't been very good. Was that just a matchup of their strength against our weakness, and it was just such a big deficit that it didn't matter? And we won't figure that out at all this offseason. As much as I wish we could, we won't. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Zimmer handles another young and inexperienced play caller for the second consecutive year, going from DiFilippo to Kevin Stefanski. And Kevin Stefanski's actually younger than DiFilippo because DiFilippo's 40, Stefanski's 36. And once again, inexperienced play caller. I thought that was kind of the key for Minnesota. That's why I'm shocked they waited as long as they did to hire an offensive coordinator, because I thought they really wanted that experienced guy. And it was kind of looking like it was going to be Mike Mularkey for a second. Then there was these other reports saying, oh no, it could be Dirk Cutter. And then both of them go to Atlanta. And then we're kind of like left, Stefanski's over there in Cleveland talking to guys about a head coaching job, and he's been reported to not even, kind of like he almost took himself out of this race, and he didn't want to come back, was some reports I saw. And then that would have left us with Hugh Jackson, probably. And I know that name doesn't really inspire people, but that's probably what we would have been left with. And I'm a little surprised they let it come down to, well, Kevin, do you want that job or do you not want that job? And then we'll just not make a choice until you make a choice. That almost screwed them out of this, and they kind of got lucky. And it's just a little surprising to see them go with another inexperienced guy. I thought they were going to be looking for that guy to really go with Zimmer. And I thought he was kind of done with these kind of guys necessarily. Because I was kind of thinking along the lines of he's going to live and die by his philosophy. And that would just be hard-nosed football, run the ball, we're going to do this, play good defense, and just control the game that way, which isn't flashy in today's game, but I think that's how he would like to do it, and this is going to be kind of like the make-or-break year for him. So it's a little interesting how he went with Stefanski still, as opposed to really aggressively going after another guy. And yeah, it's the only real thing we know about Kevin Stefanski is he should be more balanced of a play caller. He actually called a completely balanced thing throughout those 3 games. In those 3 games, we threw it 82 times and we ran it 82 times. And that's a little interesting to me. Obviously, the Bear game, we threw it a lot more than we ran it. So I think he's more of a run-first guy, but he's definitely more balanced than DiFilippo ever will be. And it's kind of hard to project him, though. Because, once again, we haven't seen his offense. Is it going to be Shermer's offense? Is it going to be, because he's been with Minnesota ever since 2006. He's seen Brad Childress. He's seen Leslie Frazier. He's seen Zimmer, Norv Turner, all those guys. He's seen everything. So, is this going to be some weird combination of a whole bunch of offenses of guys that we've had from 2006 to present? Or is this going to be mainly his own thing? I just think we got the play calling preferences necessarily of what he would like to do, not necessarily how. And that's going to be kind of interesting to see. I just know that I'm willing to bet he's a better fit than DiFilippo was. And there is one more key thing that's kind of going under the radar a bit here, and that's we still need an offensive line coach. Sperano kind of passed away last training camp. I mean, they didn't really replace him. They replaced him with 2 guys, the assistant offensive line coach and Clancy Barone, who was the tight ends coach. I anticipate them to fill that hole. With whom? I don't got any clue who they might be looking at, but I imagine they will fill the hole, and that's kind of the last piece of this. And one other thing that could factor in is Stefanski going to be given the title of quarterbacks coach / offensive coordinator, or are we going to get a whole new quarterback coach and just let Stefanski coordinate? So I would like to know what you guys think down below, whether you wanted Stefanski in the first place, if no, tell me who else you would have gotten. Suggestions for a line coach even at this point, because I haven't really gotten into that yet, but I'm sure I'll find some people. There'll be a video for later. And just know what you guys want. What you guys think as a whole on the button down in the comments section. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.